Noise is the refuge of the weak, but silence is the throne of a man who knows exactly who he is. We live in a society addicted to instant attention, a world where young men desperately scramble to speak loudly, show off on social media, and validate their masculinity by begging for approval from others. They believe that to attract, to impress, or to win the respect of a woman, they must be the loudest voice in the room. But there is an exact moment in a man's life, usually after crossing the 40-year barrier, where all that noise simply shuts off. It is the moment you discover that your most lethal weapon, your ultimate competitive advantage in the game of life and attraction, is not what you say, but what you choose to keep to yourself. An older man's silence is not empty space. It carries massive weight. It is an impenetrable barrier that completely disarms the female psychology. Have you ever wondered why a woman feels deeply intimidated, yet magnetically drawn to an older man who remains in absolute silence? It is not a rational fear. It is a brutal psychological trigger. When the rest of the world is desperate to fill uncomfortable silences with empty words, the Stoic man stands firm, observing, without any need to prove himself to anyone. That silence acts as an unforgiving mirror, forcing others to face their own deepest insecurities. Most modern men give away their power within the first 5 minutes of a conversation. They reveal their intentions, validate their fears, and expose their desperate need for approval. But when an older man masters the art of Stoic reserve, he breaks all the rules of the game. She does not know what you are thinking. She cannot predict your next move, and most importantly, she cannot manipulate your emotions. Today, we are stripping away the social conditioning to reveal the hidden psychological truth. We are going to break down the 3 hidden laws of modern Stoicism that explain why your maturity and your reserve are, in reality, a superpower of intimidation and respect. If you have been wasting your precious energy trying to fit into a loud, frantic world, brace yourself. Because once you truly understand what happens inside a woman's mind when you choose to stay silent, you will never give your words away for free again. Make sure you stay until the very end of the video, because our 3rd law will reveal the fatal mistake that 99% of men make, and exactly how you can use reverse psychology to command instant authority the moment you walk into any room. The comparison, the young man's noise versus the older man's reserve. To truly understand the impact of this silent intimidation, we must make an honest comparison of how female psychology responds to 2 completely opposite types of masculine energy. Imagine the average 25-year-old guy. He is energetic, sure, but he is entirely predictable. He talks way too much, tries to impress with his achievements, reacts instantly to any slight provocation, and constantly hunts for validation in the eyes of the woman sitting across from him. To her, this man is an open book, an easy territory to read, and therefore an easy territory to get bored with. The female mind is biologically wired to seek stability, predictability, and ultimate control. When a man hands over all that control on a silver platter through endless chatter and anxiety to please, the mystery dies. And where mystery dies, attraction goes with it. Now, let us switch the scenario. Imagine an older man who has fully adopted the philosophy of Stoicism. This man has lived long enough to know that most words are completely unnecessary. When he enters a room, he does not look around for validation. He does not interrupt others to force his opinion. When she speaks, he listens with a calm, steady focus, holds eye contact with absolute certainty. And when a moment of silence comes, he simply holds it. He does not shift uncomfortably in his chair, he does not pull out his phone to escape the tension, and he does not desperately search for a random topic just to ease the air. He stays right there, completely comfortable in his own skin, breathing slowly. What happens inside her mind at that exact moment? A psychological alarm triggers. The female brain begins to run at 1,000 miles per hour, desperately trying to decode the enigma. She asks herself, why isn't he trying to impress me? What does he know that I don't? Is this indifference? Is it power? Or is it absolute confidence? This sudden lack of information creates immediate vulnerability inside her. A woman's social confidence is heavily based on her ability to read the intentions of the men around her. By denying her that information through your silence, you pull her completely out of her comfort zone. She is not intimidated because you are a physical threat. She is intimidated because you represent a level of emotional control that she rarely finds in men her own age. It is the fundamental difference between a boy shouting to be seen and a king ruling the room with a single glance. The 3 steps of Stoic installation, your new armor. Mastering this silent superpower does not happen by accident. It requires installing 3 foundational pillars of Stoic philosophy into your daily behavior. The first step is developing what Marcus Aurelius called the inner citadel, which modern psychology translates as the total eradication of reactivity. Most people are like puppets. If someone insults them, they snap. If a woman ignores them, they panic. If things don't go their way, they complain. A Stoic older man has learned that his emotional energy is far too valuable to waste on cheap triggers. When faced with a high-tension situation, a sharp criticism, or a manipulative mind game, your first response must be absolute stillness, show no surprise, show no anger, and offer 0 justification. A simple 3-second pause before you speak while holding steady eye contact proves that you are the absolute master of your own mind. That micro moment of silence is exactly where power changes hands permanently. The second step is practicing strict verbal economy. Cut your sentences in half. Eliminate unnecessary explanations. When a man constantly justifies his decisions, his schedule, or his thoughts, he is unconsciously signaling that he feels subordinate. If a woman asks you a direct question, answer with precision, honesty, and stop speaking immediately. Do not fill the void right after. Let the weight of your answer hang in the air. This habit builds an immediate perception of high authority. Human psychology naturally associates an excess of words with submission and a scarcity of words with elevated status. By speaking less, you force every single word you utter to hold triple the value. You become a man whose opinions are not handed out like free flyers but are valued like premium real estate. The third step to solidifying your Stoic reserve is absolute comfort in disconnection. A young man fears silence because he thinks it equals social failure. A mature Stoic man uses silence as a filter for character. When you are dining, negotiating, or simply walking with someone, learn to fully enjoy the soundless space. Watch how the other person begins to fidget, how they scramble to talk about any random nonsense just to soothe their own internal anxiety. Meanwhile, you remain like a rock in the middle of a crashing ocean. You are proving that your peace of mind does not depend on external noise or constant validation from others. This attitude is deeply magnetic and deeply disruptive all at once because it projects a truth that very few people can handle, that you are a completely self-sufficient man. The numbers of the masculine mind, the blueprint of respect. Let us dive into the hard data of behavioral psychology. 93% of human communication is entirely non-verbal. This means that while the vast majority of men obsessively focus on the remaining 7%, meaning hunting for the perfect pickup line, the right compliment, or a clever joke, the Stoic man has already won the battle using the bulk of human communication. Your posture, your open body language, the measured pace of your movements, and above all, the steady direction of your gaze say infinitely more about your true value than any script you could ever rehearse in front of a mirror. When your non-verbal cues project an unshakable calm, the brains of those around you automatically process that data as an undeniable sign of dominance, safety, and leadership. There is a powerful psychological principle known as the information scarcity effect. Human beings naturally value what is rare and difficult to obtain. If you are a man who shares every single thought, posts your hourly updates on social media, and replies to text messages in under 30 seconds, you are making yourself a low-value commodity in the attention economy. You are hyper-available. The older Stoic man, however, treats his attention like liquid gold. His silence and his calculated distance trigger the psychological mechanism of the chase in a woman's mind. She cannot easily fit you into the category of average, everyday men. Because you are unmapped territory, the burning desire to find out what lies behind that wall of maturity becomes a quiet obsession for her. Furthermore, social psychology studies show that women unconsciously connect masculine silence with competence and crisis-solving capability. In nature, the animal that makes the most noise is usually the prey trying to scare off danger, while the apex predator moves in absolute stealth. When things get difficult, whether it is a financial crisis, a family issue, or a heated argument, the man who starts shouting or speaking at a frantic pace proves he has been completely overwhelmed by his environment. On the flip side, the man who takes a moment, breathes, stays silent, and analyzes the situation before executing a move instantly becomes the anchor of security everyone looks to. That is the true magnetism of maturity, the silent promise that no matter how hard the storm hits, you will remain entirely unmoved. The outro and the final trigger. Do not let a superficial world that is starving for attention strip away the most powerful asset you possess as a mature man. Noise is incredibly cheap. Anyone can yell, anyone can complain, and anyone can beg for a thumbs up on a glass screen. But to stand firm, to master your impulses, to look straight into the eyes of chaos, and to respond with a dead silence, that is real power. That is the pure, unadulterated essence of Stoicism. The next time you feel the urge to over-explain yourself just to impress someone, or the next time you feel the pressure to fill an empty space in a conversation with a woman, stop. Remember who you are. Remember the battles you have already won, the scars that have already healed, and the deep wisdom that only years of experience can grant a man. Take a step back, hold the gaze, breathe deeply, and let your silence do the heavy lifting for you. Let her try to figure you out. Let the world wonder what you are holding back. Turn your reserve into your personal signature. If you are ready to leave the noise of the herd behind, to embrace your maturity with absolute pride, and to start applying the laws of Stoic psychology that actually turn a man into a respected leader, show your commitment right now. You don't even have to leave a long comment if you don't want to. Just subscribe to the channel, hit the like button if this video brought value to your life, and prove that you too know how to operate in complete silence. Thank you for watching. Stand firm, stay stoic, and I will see you in the next lesson of manhood.